There's some things like with the chili. There were always these rumors that he was a cannibal.
Yeah.
And that he made his own chili. Now, this is a true story, though.
Okay.
So, which I read numerous times. They asked him when they had gotten into his house, and they were saying, well, he's actually, making chili. And it's venison chili, and he was giving it away. But then one of the deputies asked him, they said, well, wait a second, did you get your license this year? He's like, I've never shot a deer in my life.
Oh, jeez.
And hence, for people that don't live in Wisconsin or in the Midwest,
true,
venison is deer meat. You need to kill a deer in order to
and a license to shoot it.
Yeah, and license to shoot it. And that was the disturbing point, and a tipping point for a lot of these guys, because they thought, oh dear Lord, I actually had
how many of them
venison chili. Yeah.
Oh, well, and I was wondering about that myself with the chili part.
Yeah.
That if he actually did that.
Yeah, that's, you just make the inference.
Yeah.
That you might have made human chili,
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Thank you, everybody. Hello, fellow lushes. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have an in-house guest, super special, super excited to introduce you, Dan Davies. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing. I love you guys.
Oh,
and it's not the alcohol, it's not the beer.
But
it is. Yeah, it is. But I do. There's a lot of love in this room, and
awesome.
And I feel it.
Good. Well, hope you feel welcome. And
I do. I really do.
Real quick, I just saw an ad for in Ed Gein the musical, and I said, what the fuck? I gotta see this. They had a re-premiere.
Yeah.
10-year anniversary, right?
13th
anniversary of a showing in Menasha.
Yep.
And I said I had to go, and my daughter's as deranged as I am. So I said, hey, do you want to go? And she said, absolutely. So then we brought her boyfriend, and we went and got to see on the big screen Ed Gein the musical. And as we were there, I got to meet Dan, and as a whore I am, I said, come on over. Will you be on my podcast? Because I would love to talk to you and hear some stories about what possessed you to write. He's a writer, producer, and actor of Ed Gein musical, which was done 13 years ago.
And I'm glad you said possessed, because I think that's the apropos term to use.
So I want to shut up, and I just want to hear the start of what possessed you to say, I'm going to write Ed Gein the musical.
And it's a great question. So many moons ago, in the mid to late 90s, I was drinking beer with a buddy,
as we do,
drinking copious amounts of beer with a buddy in Waupaca, Wisconsin, and his name is Ian Teal. And Ian is a real cool filmmaker, cool cat, has his own film festival in Waiwiga called the Waiwiga International Film Festival, along with his partner, Kathy Fail. But Ian and I were drinking, and he was talking about Errol Morris, who is a documentarian from New York, who did a documentary on Ed Gein. So Ian said, well, I'd like to do a documentary on Ed Gein too. And I was like, drunk and a little maybe high. I don't really know, but I probably was both. And so I was like, what would be really cool, if I did a comedic musical. I'd call it Ed Gein the musical. And he looked at me like I had two heads, and I knew I was onto something. And then it just kind of ruminated and kind of laid there in my brain for years. And then in 2007, I started a video film company in the Fox Cities, Wisconsin. And we had the wherewithal to make it. And I wrote the script and wanted it to be a psychological treatise on Ed Gein, of why he became the monster he became, because his dad physically horribly abused him, and his mom, they think, sexually abused him. So it was a combination, a recipe for a monster, basically. So but I also wanted to have some dark gallows humor. I didn't want it to, make light of the victims or make light of the murders or anything like that. But I also just wanted to shine a real harsh light on that type of psychoses and disassociated behaviors that he had. And he was crazy. It was absolutely nuts.
True, yeah.
And so, but also I wanted it to be, musically sound and fun, and where people could come in and really enjoy themselves with it, but also get a glimpse into his mind and mindset.
Okay. And then where did you begin to write? I mean, what was the first page you wrote? Or
I knew I wanted to start with one set point in his life. So I started with the arrest almost, and the last murder that he did. Now I have family connections to Ed Gein. Oh, wow. So
explains a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that explains quite a bit. So my grandfather's best friend was the arresting sheriff for Washera County.
Okay.
And my grandfather worked for the Wild Rose Fish Hatchery and worked for the DNR. So they were best of friends. And then my grandma was a teacher in that same area, Wild Rose and Washera County. And she would get her teaching supplies. She was a teacher from the hardware store that Bernice Warden, who was the last person he murdered. So I started from that timeline, from that point of the murder of Bernice Warden. And then I wanted it to be not so much of him. He's just kind of recollecting why in the things that he did. He would dance with the, dig up corpses and make them into, lampshades and all kinds of nipple belts and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he would dance, and I kept thinking too, if you're going to dance with a corpse in the light of the moon, you're going to need some music, and so all the songs are in his head. Every single song is a construct. And there's one part of the movie where he starts singing out loud and the sheriff smacks him in the back of the head. What the hell are you doing?
Great part. Great part.
And he's like, oh, I'm singing. It is a musical. He looks right in the camera. So I wanted it to be fun and funny, but I wanted it where people could get an understanding of who he was, and not to be sympathetic or empathetic towards him.
Right.
Because he was crazy and he was evil. Yeah. But we premiered it at UW Oshkosh Fox Cities 2010. And then we were the first movie that they had there. And then it kind of got a life of its own. We had 500 theatrical screenings in 11 states, and then it was on national TV twice. It was on Retro TV Network and PBS as well. So it kind of took on this cult classic status. And then about a year ago, my music director, Will Kaiser, came up to me and he said, he burped, because he was coming out of a bar.
He was drinking again.
He's not a drinker at all. I mean, he'll have a cider actually.
Oh, okay.
Which the Stone Arch cider he really likes.
We can give a shout out to Stone Arch.
Yeah.
What we're drinking tonight. Thank you, Stone Arch.
Yeah. And so he came up to me, he said, let's resurrect Ed Gein the musical. And I thought,
what was your reaction?
I was like, that's stupid. Without hell, what distribution company would want a 10, 12-year-old film shot in 720? Now everything is 4K, 6K, or 8K. This was 720, which is just minuscule as compared to the definition that they have now. But I said, I'll write up a little something. I'll give you the press kit and find out if distributors would want it. We had 5 distributors that wanted it. Oh, wow. Right from the get-go.
Right from the get-go, I believe it.
And SRS Cinema on the West Coast, they've been around for 30 years, and they do a lot of cult classics and indie horror and that type of stuff. And he absolutely loved it and crafted the poster for it. A gentleman from Milan, Italy. His name is Max Cave, and he's a professional artist there, crafted a really cool poster, which was based on Will Kaiser's idea of Gone with the Wind.
Yeah,
they call it Gein
very
with the
classic.
Wind. Yeah.
Oh, Gein.
And I'm going to get you guys a copy of that, for your wall.
Oh, absolutely. That's hilarious.
But yeah, and so and
he's very recognizable. You could tell Gone with the Wind's in there. So that's all. It was
same
really well done.
Scheme and the whole shoot match. But it was, and I was a little bit hesitant, and I'm thinking, because I like to just go on to my next project.
Sure.
And other worlds to conquer, so to speak. But I was excited once SRS said, this is how we're going to roll it out. We're going to do a Blu-ray, we're going to do a DVD,
Sure.
And then streaming, and then look at hopefully Hulu or Netflix or whatever. And I was impressed with them. So it's available through SRS Cinema.
Okay.
The DVD and the Blu-ray. The DVD is coming out March 14.
Blu-ray's out now, but
the Blu-ray is out,
and you can get it on the website at GeinTheMusical.com.
Yep.
So make sure we go. You'll be impressed. Go get it.
And I don't know if you want this, but you can also rent it on Vimeo, because I did that yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's how I checked it out yesterday. I actually watched it at work on my second monitor.
Work
Your
doesn't need to know that.
boss didn't give you.
There's nobody to work this week. I mean, the thing of it is, I'm always watching podcasts or something on the second screen anyway. So it's like, what's the difference? Anyway, but yeah, I absolutely, it was my first time seeing it. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely. I love the way it was constructed and how you, like you said, you started at that certain time and then and then brought it back and did it through like the recollection.
Yeah, kind of through his
lot
lens,
of a lot of turns that I wasn't expecting. So I love that you just had no boundaries.
I really
but never got too crazy.
Yeah.
Or out of control, I guess.
It always had to have a thematic purpose and a thematic thread throughout. So no matter how crazy some of the songs were or some of the comedy was, there's always a grounding point, true. And that's kind of Ed's psychoses is the jumping off point for the film. And I really wanted to keep that in play at all times. So thank you. I'm glad you liked it. That's awesome.
I did.
Thank you.
And I'm not gonna lie, like going in, I was like, this is a really weird format for a movie. I hope I like this, because and I did. It was great. I think it was
when I brought it to him, I'm like, and it's kind of like, well, if you want to, we'll have it. I'm like, no, you got to watch it. I think I enjoyed it. I would have asked you to come on if I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we didn't love it, and my daughter loved it as well.
Good. That's awesome. So what about her boyfriend?
And he loved it too.
Okay, good. And some of the cinematography, I think you would call it, like the scene where you do the comic book.
Yeah,
it changes. There's just so much of that fun stuff. That's in there it was. Just a really cool little movie, and the fact that you did it for
$9,000.
$8,000.
Yeah,
in Wisconsin, which was great.
Yeah, all in Wisconsin, pretty much. Fox Cities, Amro. We shot at a couple of different places there. We couldn't shoot it in Plainfield, because there's still people there that remember him and are still probably still shocked to this day. That somebody from their small town could be that depraved and that evil.
So go ahead.
How much of it about him was true? I'm curious. Did he ever really call square dances?
He did.
Okay.
So
shy guy, but he did that.
Yeah, he did. He learned. And I was
just to try and get in with the ladies, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't unheard of back at that time, where I even in the 70s and 80s, when I was going through elementary and junior high and everything, we actually had a square dance class.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Where they would teach you, but then they would also teach you how to do the barking, the calling out stuff, which was cool. So it wasn't unheard of. That's a Wisconsin thing, I think.
It is, yeah.
Where he would have learned it probably in high school or junior high. So he did that. Yeah, he actually did that. There's some things like with the chili. There were always these rumors that he was a cannibal, and that he made his own chili. Now this is a true story though.
Okay.
So, which I read numerous times. They asked him when they had gotten into his house, and they were saying, well, he's actually making chili. And it's venison chili, and he was giving it away. But then one of the deputies asked him, they said, well, wait a second, did you get your license this year? He's like, I've never shot a deer in my life.
Oh, jeez.
And hence, for people that don't live in Wisconsin or in the Midwest,
True.
venison is deer meat.
Yeah.
You need to kill a deer in order to
and a license to shoot it.
Yeah, and license to shoot it. And that was the disturbing point, that and a tipping point for a lot of these guys, because they thought, oh dear Lord, I actually had
How many of
this
them
venison
had the
chili. Yeah.
Oh, well, and I was wondering about that myself with the chili part.
Yeah.
That if he actually did that.
Yeah, that's, you just make the inference
Yeah.
that you might have made human chili,
Yeah, because I mean, in the
So
film, you never say 100%.
Right.
No. But I did all the research. I read all the books, did voluminous research.
Were you able to get some of your you said your connections that were in the area talk to your?
So I just, because by that time both my grandma and grandpa were gone.
Oh, okay.
So, but I remember their stories, but I remember my dad's stories.
Mm-hmm.
My dad also was there the day he was arrested, and his best friend said, holy smokes, there's a bunch of cops. There's all kinds of state troopers, county guys, city guys. He said from all over, from New London, Wapaka, Stevens Point, Appleton. And something happened. So my dad's best friend, they get in the car. Wapaka is only 15 minutes away. They get there, and my dad said the biggest guy he's ever seen in his life put his hands up, says, what the hell are you two young guys doing? Get the hell around, turn the car around and just get the hell out of here. I think they swore. They could probably call them, F heads or whatever.
We could swear.
Okay, fuck heads. You two fuckheads, get the hell out of here. So, so they did, but my dad, as they were driving up there, he had never seen so many police officers. And what they were doing was digging every couple of feet. They had like 100 of these guys with shovels digging because they were looking for more bodies. Because they
all over his yard.
Yeah, all over his yard. And my dad said that really struck him as like, what the hell? And then as the days kind of progressed, that you found out just how horrible and depraved and just
that house must have been
horrors. Yeah.
I would imagine that small town just was like calling everybody because we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We don't know how to handle this.
Yep.
As any of the towns they called in wouldn't have known how to do.
My grandpa said that his best friend, the sheriff, his name was Specs Murdoch or Murdy. And he said he was never the same.
Oh, I would imagine.
He was never the same after walking into that house of horrors.
On that in a minute.
I'm curious.
More beer?
I'm curious. How hard is it to arrange when you do a period piece like that? How hard is it to arrange and get all those vehicles and stuff? Because you have all those authentic
cool
vehicles.
Cars. You had some cool cars.
Oh yeah. So there's a group of guys called. Thank you, Kevin. A group of guys called the Rat Bastards.
Oh.
And they're from the Fox Cities, and they're 1950s. 40s and 50s car enthusiasts, and they're all and they live that lifestyle.
Oh, nice.
They kind of have, they wear the jeans that are from that era, and their clothes are kind of from that era. The hairstyles are from that era, and their wives kind of look. It's really cool, and they listen to that type of music. They get into like rockabilly, because now there's like new bands that do modern day rockabilly that are kind of like an homage to the 40s, 50s, and 60s guys. But so they all have these cool cars, and I just asked them, I said, can we use these? Nice. Hell yeah. We won't even, we'll do it for free.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to all those guys, and they were really amazing to be there, like always, even driving from Appleton to Amro, which is about 35 miles or so, or 40 miles maybe. And it was everybody just came to the fore, and they believed in it.
That's cool.
Well, and at the show that I was at, there were a lot of people that were in the movie that were in the audience, which was really cool. I'm looking around like they're all popping up like they were in it. They were in it. Yeah. That's cool. I'd be proud of it too.
Yeah. There were, I think we had 3 or 4 of the original car owners that showed up in one of the 3 screenings. And but you could kind of tell too just how they were dressed.
Yeah, you could,
from a mile away, that they're kind of do this homage to the 50s and 60s. But yeah, it was really cool. We came together as a team and got it done.
You for the budget you had and the time frame you had to go back to is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. So at the time, and I think you touched on it because you were talking before and after the movie, which was really fun as well. During the screening. That was a nice touch, and then you and your music director sang a few songs, which was really
from
neat.
the movie.
From the movie, yeah. So it was a neat experience. The whole thing was an experience.
My favorite, though, the end credit movie. The end credit song.
Yes, that was awesome.
I didn't realize going in that they were parody songs. Like he told me it was a music.
Some of them are parodies. Yeah. About 5 or 6 are parodies.
Yep.
And which is weird because I had to do all the research because I didn't want to get sued, for doing, parodies, but parody is its own entity. It's its own construct. So it's legally protected, like Weird Al, but it actually goes back to Acuff versus Rose. Roy Acuff, the old Southern, owns all this old school Nashville music, and a rapper. What were they?
Oh my God.
Horny, that one song.
Yeah.
Two Live Crew.
So Two Live Crew and some of their songs were sampling all kinds of Roy Acuff. So they won in court just by saying, no, you can own it, but if we create it and make it ourselves, you don't own,
Really?
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's called Acuff versus Rose. Wow. So there's protections, and Weird Al too.
Yeah.
There's legally protected. I was on a nationally syndicated called Haney on the Law, and it's out of Los Angeles, and he's a lawyer, and he was talking about Ed Gein the musical, and he was like, dead people have no rights.
Especially crazy ones.
Yeah. Especially the crazy ones. So it was really cool, but there are about 4 or 5 of the songs are parodies, and the rest of them are crafted from the ground up.
So let's touch on that, and I'll go back to the other. Were you in high school? Were you in musicals and plays? Were you in acting? And how did you write the songs? Did you get help?
I'm not classically trained as a songwriter.
Because you think on writing a movie is one thing. Yeah. Well, now I'm going to freaking write songs too. That's double whammy, I think.
Yeah. And it was funny too because my background was singing, but I'd never played an instrument. I didn't have any kind of music theory or how to write a song. I wouldn't know. I don't even know how to read music, but so I wrote the lyrics as basically like poetry, and then with our musical director Will Kaiser, I write
Which is a great story how you met him too.
Yeah, he was kind of like meandering around, and he's got this long hair, and I'm thinking, oh, there's a homeless dude outside of my office, and I wanted to invite him in for a coffee and a sandwich or something. And he was just kind of lost. And then he comes right up to the door. I'm like, well, how can I help you? And he's like, my name is Will Kaiser. I'm just moved up here from Nashville. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm just looking for work. What do you guys do? And I said, I'm a video, TV, film guy. And that's so weird because I'm doing this musical. He's like, what? And it's Ed Gein the musical, and he starts laughing. He goes, let me look at the script. And I said, well, would you be able to help me? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And he was like, well, let me read the script first. He read the script. He really liked it. And then he got back to me like 2 days later. It said it'd be an honor. And so what I would do, I'd write it out like poetry or whatever. Yeah. And then I'd have the music in my head. So I'd go, it's such a lovely feeling, such a lonely reeling. I wanted it to be a motif of him fishing for women. So it's such a lovely feeling. It's such a lovely reeling. And so I would start singing it, and he'd go, I got it. And I'm like, what? And then he was crafting it just from me, humming a few bars.
Yeah.
And then he looked at my lyrics too. He goes, you've never written a song before, have you? I said, no, hell no.
No, I've written a movie though.
I've never written a movie. But he was able, and we had some great people from Green Bay too. The Crazy House Chorus, they were all people from the Green Bay area that were a theater group. They were a dance and theater group. Really talented people.
Yeah.
came in, they recorded their songs, and then did the choreography for the last where he's in the crazy house at Mendota. I shouldn't call it crazy house. That's not politically correct. Last time I checked.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore.
The movie though.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was called they called it at one time. It was the Mendota Mental Health Institute for the Criminally Insane.
Yeah.
Which reminds like a super villain from Batman,
right?
Yeah. Dr. Evil. you know something, boys. Just like I'm enjoying Mendota Mental Hospital of the Criminally Insane. Like, and then hatching these
yes,
plots
absolutely
for world domination.
Perfect.
I'm getting drunk. These are so good.
Salute.
I love Scottish ale.
That was my favorite when I could drink beer. That was my favorite when we would go there.
Yeah, it is a damn good beer.
It is, and you know what's so great about it is it's because a lot of ambers they're like a forceful, complex, almost too big of a taste. This is refreshing as well as tasty. It's the best of both worlds.
That's true. Yeah.
It
was one of my favorites.
It's almost like a light beer, but it's amber,
It's crazy. Yeah, and it's really weird because there's some ambers I absolutely hate.
Sure.
And I won't mention who they are because they potentially could be sponsors for you guys.
We don't upset anybody. We love you all.
But this at Stone Arch in Appleton, and they're such good people too. Just the owners and the management. They're wonderful people and amazing beer. So this is awesome. Thank you.
And as I told them when I was there picking this up, we had gone the Friday before. And I went down for a few drinks because me and some friends and both my daughters and my nephews, we all went and saw Mike Merrifield up at the comedy club.
Oh, cool.
So we went to Stone Arch ahead of time to have a few drinks before we went up.
How was Mike?
Hilarious.
Yeah,
he really was
funny.
really, really hilarious.
Yeah. He's probably.
And then we went out and got drunk after.
Rob Breckenridge and Mike Merrifield were probably good. Did Rob open for Mike?
Yeah. And then Rob, not Rob Little. I'm sorry. There's another one. I forgot.
But kind of the local kind of guys.
Yep.
Okay.
So it was a good. Mike was recording a special there. That's what he was there.
So, oh, killer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mike's such a good guy.
Is it not happening now? Because
he kept saying, I don't know about it. And, he was talking.
I know he was upset about the weather and
and if it's going to go and whatever. So I love going there for the dual thing. You can't beat it for an evening.
No, it's a great night of entertainment and it's great food and great beer.
Yeah.
It's just all in the same building.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, you don't have to wait for a comedy club to go, but yeah.
Well, there aren't many of the
my favorite.
Yeah. There aren't many comedy clubs left.
Right. No. I know. And we have a good one. Yeah. We have a good one here.
So. We actually do have a good one. So we got into the musical part, which is hilarious. That I love that story about that he just is walking by.
Yeah,
you're basically like, what? How are the odds?
Yeah, and I kept thinking too as he was wandering around. He needs coffee and a sandwich and maybe a shower or something.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like if I had there was more grease in his hair than I've ever seen in a bacon frying pan. And but then when he told me, and then I heard some of the stuff that he had created, I'm like, holy shit, dude,
right up my alley.
You're really good.
Yeah, right.
And and it's just, and I told him, I said, you get as creative as you want. I love working with people that are like-minded and that are working and that are talented and that have those goals where they say, this is what I want to accomplish. But a very quick an aside story, I guess. When I was in Los Angeles for a couple of films, there's a acting coach. His name is Choice Skinner. Super great guy. He's probably the #1 acting coach in Los Angeles. Okay. And it's really cool too. He's African-American guy. Not that it matters, but there aren't, many coaches that are, and he's amazeballs. But he told me one time when we were on set, he said, well, Danny, do your lines, show me what you have, blah, blah, blah. And I did. And he's like, okay, I'm done with you. You're good. And he says, and then he walks away and he goes, I got to tell you one thing. Genius recognizes genius. And I took that as the best compliment in the world. I was like, wow, dude, because I had heard of him.
Yeah,
he's that famous, as an acting coach. So when with Will, he has those streaks of genius. He's that good.
Yeah, I can see that. Have you guys worked on anything, other projects together?
No, we're gonna do. Oh yeah. What am I saying? Yeah, West of Thunder.
Perfect.
Yeah, which is a Western we shot.
I'm not leaving.
Well,
I'm listening.
So it was a Western we shot in outside of Platteville, and then the Lakota Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, and in Agua Dulce in California. We shot. I wrote that. Yeah.
God, I want to touch on that too. Your writing process, but go ahead, talk about that.
Yeah, and so
how did he help you on that film?
So Will's a really good actor, and
was he in it?
Yeah, he plays a Civil War veteran who is just kind of a jerk to the Indians, and my character. I'm kind of giving away a little bit of a, what do they call that? Spoiler alert. Yeah. I make, because my character is called a Wakinya. He's like a mixed breed spirit being. So my grandfather was half Seneca of the Iroquois. They're from upstate New York and Canada. The Oneidas are the brother tribe of the 5-6 nations of the Iroquois. But so I play this kind of mixed person who is a spirit being, and I make these people kill themselves.
I did watch
for their sins of how they horribly mistreated the American Indians and the Lakota people from about 1860 to about 1900. But he was an actor in it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So did a great job and did some of the soundtrack as well. I think I'm trying to remember. It's been like 10 years, but specifically more so his acting talent.
Wait, is he in Ed Gein as well?
Yeah.
Is he the guy who plays the guitar?
Yeah.
Okay. In the police station?
Yeah.
Yes,
So that's Will kind of, you can tell how greasy his hair.
Well, when you said greasy, I'm like, that makes sense. He didn't
Shout out, Will.
He didn't have to sit in the makeup chair that day.
No, he's naturally greasy. But it's weird. Like he's like a grown adult slip and slide. He's like greasy, I remember one time he's got a whole passel full of kids. His kids were all, it was like in the summertime, he was so greasy. One of the kids jumped on his lap and I slipped right off. He was like a 5'9" slip and slide, just because of that grease. It's like, dude, what the fuck is this grease problem?
Why are you so slippery?
Yeah, why are you like? Yeah, one of these kids literally boom hit the ground, and I'm like, dude, that should be a sign that you're too greasy. Your kids are slipping off you.
His claim to fame, I guess.
Yeah, no, and he's, all kidding aside, he's really a good guy, and he's very, very talented. He's the reason why Ed Gein got resurrected.
Yeah,
I would
true.
not have done it if it wasn't for his, cajoling and mentioning it every couple of weeks. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And he just wore me down.
Sure.
But
my big thanks to Will then, because I wouldn't have seen it had there not been a re-release.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
Well,
and like I said, he performed that night that way. We went and saw him.
Yeah, he did four songs.
He did 4 songs, and they were fun. Yeah, live, which were really neat and very entertaining. It was just fun. It was a fun. The whole premise you guys put together a great premise.
Oh, thank you.
It wasn't just here's a movie, sit down, watch it. It was we talked, sang, and entertained us, and then afterward took questions. It was a great night.
Oh,
it was just a great night.
I am so glad. We're going to be doing April 1 at Time Cinema in Oshkosh. We're going to do the Wisconsin World Tour of Ed Gein the Musical. So we started in Oshkosh. We're going to probably go Green Bay.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, Madison.
Milwaukee, okay.
Madison, and then maybe Wapaka, Stevens Point, Wausau, the central part of the state. In 2023.
Okay.
But we're kicking it off with the Time Cinema one, April 1.
Nice.
Oh, perfect. So seriously, when you go to Ed Gein the Musical website, you'll have all the dates on there to get tickets. That's where I got my tickets. And I got a funny story about our tickets, but that's awesome that you're gonna go around, because I would definitely I would go see it again.
Yeah, I want to see it because I wasn't able to attend that one, so I want to see it in that
on the
format.
big screen.
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
and what we'd really like to do is, I was telling this to Will too. I said, wouldn't it be cool if, remember in the old school movies they would have the sing-alongs and that the words would come up in that little bouncing ball. So if people could start singing with some of the songs and make it really interactive with the audience, and you'll be able to meet the creators and the people behind it, and really make it so that it's an engaging full 2-3 hours.
The old school road show.
Yeah,
with movie theaters that they would do special movies they would do road show. And Tarantino is the only one that I've been to one of those.
Oh wow.
That he did with Hateful Eight back in the day, but did not many do that road show where you have something before or after, orchestra before an intermission. They give you something to take. And so that was cool. So it's I like that.
Yeah,
the old road
I
show.
went to one. Ed Gein the musical was at the Music Box Theater in Chicago.
Classic place.
But the guy from what is it? Back to the Future. The
Christopher Lloyd?
No. Marty, 10 million gigawatts. No, that's my Christopher Lloyd. But Doc, and that's my Michael J. Fox. It's about the extent of that. Marty. But he's the guy that's his dad. Yeah. What's that dude's name?
Not Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover.
He's wacko.
He's nuts. So his movie was before ours, and so he showed up. It was either at Music Box Theater or the Oriental in Milwaukee. I can't remember.
Love the Oriental.
Yeah, awesome.
I grew up
theater.
at the Oriental.
Oh, I love that place. And he was like just kind of like this really odd kind of like, oh, Dan, okay. So your film is Ed Gein, the musical. And my film is before yours. God damn it, dude! Would you get hit in the head?
He is out there,
crazy. And he's just what is your point? I like listened to him for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck is your point? And it was funny too, because when we traveled with the film, we had a 96-minute version. This is an 89-minute or 90-minute version. So we'd set our stopwatches, and then we'd pretend like we were going to the back to watch it, but I hate watching myself. So then I'd get on Google Maps and find the closest bar. And so we had 90 minutes, to drink a whole shit ton of beer and then haul ass back for the last few minutes, like we were there all the time.
Did you do that in the Menasha one?
The only one that I came in just to watch bits and pieces of, Will had come out I was at the lobby, but I wasn't drinking. Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Punch.
Yeah. And so Will comes out and he's like, oh man, this crowd is really, really enjoying the comedy. They're laughing all the time. I'm like, what? And so I went in and they were like enjoying a lot of stuff.
Oh,
yeah. But there were some things that they were laughing at that they might not have, should have laughed at. When Ed's mom starts to hit on her son in a sexual manner, that's never funny. Like, what the hell?
So we're demented.
Yeah,
so that crowd demented.
It was a demented.
That was definitely your crowd.
That's probably what it was.
It was a demented crowd.
I definitely laughed out loud at the chorus of women on the hooks.
That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. And that's what I mean by and I think you did too when we were watching it. It's just like, where did you think of that? I mean, it's one thing to write the movie, but then, and that's great. I'm going to ask you this. So you wrote the movie, but at the time, did you write the hook thing, or as you were filming said, no, this would be a great addition to improvise as you go?
I'm really fortunate and really blessed to be able to visualize before I put pen to paper, either my books or screenplays. It's fully actualized in my brain.
Okay.
It's complete. So when I'm able to jump on it, I can get it done in, a full 90-page screenplay in 2 or 3 weeks and just crank it right out because it's already been fully fleshed out in my brain.
Now you sound like a director.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting into directing, but I'm more of an actress coach director.
Okay.
I would really need an amazing cinematographer, a director of photography who is just amazeballs, who has got it. And there's so many good ones out there
Sure.
that can deconstruct. They can take a look at the screenplay. They've already visualized everything.
Mhm.
And then they explain it in great detail, every one of the scenes. I would have to have somebody like that because I wouldn't be good at any of those things. I'd be good at maybe extruding a good performance out of an actor.
Yeah.
I'm really fortunate and very blessed to be able to do that. So if I did direct it, it would be just from like an acting perspective.
Okay.
But I might eventually get into that.
And I got one more question on Ed Gein, and then I'd like to move on to your other things because you've done so much, and not that we want to stop. I could talk about Ed Gein all night, but I know at one point, I think if I remember correctly, you had actual photos of the house.
Yeah.
And they were in the movie, and you decided to take it out, and what the fuck did those look like?
So actually that was Will's decision.
Okay, yeah.
Because when SRS Cinema came in, Will had to kind of do a tightening edit. And
so if I would have seen it in 2010,
yeah,
they would have been in there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
They're so disturbing.
My bad.
It takes you out of the moment in a bad way.
Yeah. Sure.
It literally, it's a sickening, those photos. There's an actual lady who is gutted, and she's up on like this cross in his barn, and she's completely gutted, and it's so disturbing and so sick that it just puts a horrible black cloud over you when you see those photos. It's
moving forward. I get
and it would take you out of that moment.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
When he explained it, that makes sense. I thought you did that in 2010.
No, he did it. He was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that we even did that originally."
Yeah,
and they were from those photos. Well, they were from a book by Judge Robert Gallmer, who was the judge of I think from it was either 57 or 1968 was the judge, and then he wrote a book about Ed Gein.
Okay,
and it's the world's most shocking murder or whatever, Ed Gein. And so he had all those photos. I remember as a kid, like 11, 12 years old, reading it, which you probably should
seeing them too.
Yeah.
It was kind of those, did you see, as a boy showing other people.
Yeah. Can we stop and focus on the fact that at 11 years old, he was reading the story about Ed Gein?
And looking at these photos.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
And I was about that age.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think it came out in maybe 77, 78, that book came out. And then if you think about the original book is Psycho. And that was written by Robert Bloch, who lived in Waiwiga for a time, right near Plainfield, but he was also in Milwaukee. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I knew the book came from there. And
so
one of my top 10 movies of all time.
The motel from the film, and in the book, what they used to have the Waiwiga Motel. Yeah, it's right on the lake. It's the exact carbon copy of it.
Yeah,
yeah, and even the Psycho house. Because what Alfred Hitchcock did was take all of his set designers and artistic designers, and they went to Plainfield, but there was nothing there. But the next biggest city over is Waupaca, 5,000 people compared to 400. And the Psycho house, they were taking photos of this house in Waupaca. So it's the house that they built for the movie Psycho is one based literally off of a photograph of a home in Waupaca.
Oh shit! Wow.
Okay, I didn't know either. Yeah.
So there's a really cool history, from it, and that kind of set the stage. That Psycho, the movie, it was the first of its type to be like the shock and schlock and very disturbing, and it set a precedence for all the other horror movies to come.
It did, and I know some people that would see it today would be like, "This is nothing."
Yeah,
fuck you, it's one of the greatest movies ever
Yeah.
made. And
Yeah.
you've got to put your mindset at the time it came out.
What,
Yeah.
It
what
was
year did
beyond.
it? What year?
1960.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom was, I think she was like a senior in high school when it came out. And she said it was funny because her friends didn't want to take showers
Yeah.
after
After that came out.
Yeah.
And Alfred Hitchcock made every theater, if you weren't allowed if the movie started. To let you,
Oh, really?
if you showed up late,
Yeah.
they didn't let you come in.
Wow.
Late. Yeah, he said, and he actually had a talking stand up of him, sign saying, "You're not allowed in the theater once it starts, and please don't say what you heard when you leave the theater and talk about it."
Wow.
Yeah. Every theater that at the time, because there weren't as many as they had all this whole thing.
Great. And I know he bought up all of Robert Bloch's books too.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want people to know the ending. The surprise ending. And crazy.
Wow.
And then,
he did. He bought the book and then he bought all of them off.
Yeah. Bought them. He figured out all the bookstores that had them and had people go out and buy every single copy.
Wow.
Yeah, he was genius.
That protective, and that movie, like you said, Fitz, is, I absolutely love that film. It's genius.
I can watch it.
Do you know how they made the sound of the knife going into the body? It was a knife going into a watermelon.
Don't know.
Yeah.
So, and if you visualize that as you hear it, you can see it, the knife going into the watermelon.
But that scene, you got the shower scene. Shower scene.
Yes, that's
penetration of the knife. You
the
leave
sound.
It going.
Yeah.
My God, she was stabbed. I saw 12 stabs.
Yeah.
I never saw one.
No,
but it
not
was
one.
So amazing.
Yeah, Hitchcock was amazing. He even put his own money into that film. And it's funny when Sir Anthony Hopkins played him. We got a little bit of a second life, Ed Gein the musical, because Time magazine and all these magazines did. These are all the representations of Ed Gein throughout the years, starting from 1960, from Psycho.
Sweet.
And that movie is basically about Psycho in essence. It's, how he put his house up and went to the bank and said, this is collateral of my home, but if you lose money on this film, you lose your home. And he's like, I know that. Yeah. So it's really cool, but it was neat to be amongst all those guys
absolutely
that were based on, even from Silence of the Lambs, was Hannibal Lecter and what's the other one? The guy from Spock from the new Star Wars plays a Ed Gein like character on a TV show from a few years ago. So there was what's his, Zachary Quinto or Quinto but that was really, really cool.
Not Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, not the new one. But we're getting some ancillary kind of buzz from the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff because they mention Ed Gein in it. So then it's just like the interviews that I'm doing, they're like, well, is it true that Wisconsin is you're among friends, but you're among fiends, and because they bring that up, they bring up the two of the most well-known, most depraved killers in history are Dahmer and Gein.
It's crazy,
and they're both Wisconsinites. Is it our cheese? Is it our bratwurst? Is it because most of the time we're inebriated?
Yeah, that might be.
Why? Is it something in the water?
Well, it can't be, it's funny because one's in the country and one's in the city. So, it's not, you can't pinpoint it to think.
No, like one's rural.
Hey, we're famous.
Yeah.
My daughter
gotta be famous for something.
Yeah. And my daughter went to school in San Antonio. And so they were teasing her because they were Dahmer, because it came on, they were watching the series and they're all like, Wisconsin. And they, for a while, she's like, yeah, they would call me. They'd be like, hey, Dahmer's here. And she's like, no, don't call me that.
No. I did a film called Tempting Fate, and there was an actor on set who was, because Dahmer was originally from Ohio and moved, I think, when he was like 14 or 15 to Milwaukee.
Sure.
But he, this actor was from his hometown. As a matter of fact, Jeffrey lived 2 houses down.
Oh, wow.
And there was one summer where everyone lost their dogs. So he was killing. So Dahmer killed his family's dog.
Oh, Jesus.
But it wasn't just
he was killing
one.
animals before he got in. Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then ambrosia
So we're,
chocolate, right? And
we're a happy show, and we talk about happy things. It was so nice of her to invite us down, and it was a cute station.
Yeah.
And they were really nice.
She's the best.
But the funny thing was, they were like, "Yeah, we'll come on down, and we're gonna have you on after Artemis
Pyle
from
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner,
Yeah.
right?"
Wow.
So in my head, I'm going, "Fuck, we're gonna meet Artemis Pyle,
Yeah.
from Leonard Skinner." So I ran out to Exclusive. I bought this Leonard Skinner record. I'm like, I'm gonna have to sign
cool.
my record.
Yeah.
You know, cool. So he literally pull up, park, and then all of a sudden he goes, "I wonder if he's calling in." And I'm like, "What?" Damn it. We walk in. Yeah, sure enough. I'm like, "He'll be in the waiting room." No. Yeah, he called in. So anyways, I got a cool album out of it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. That was on with John Waters on National Public Radio for To the Best of Our Knowledge.
Did you get to
And
like at the same time and
no,
talk to him?
he had been in already and then left.
Oh,
And I came in
What
and I said, "Oh, you
interesting.
just missed John Waters." I was like, "Why didn't you guys have me come in about half an hour earlier?"
Yes.
I
It'd have been
said I
fun.
wouldn't have minded, meeting him and waiting.
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean, so I was a little disappointed, but John was talking about a film that he wanted Robert Downey Jr. and Johnny Depp to play brothers. It's based on a true story about these two families in Baltimore that have a meat market, the butcher shop.
okay.
And in the 50s and 60s, these two families were at war with each other to get customers. And it's based on a true story. And he wanted Downey Jr. and Depp to play these brothers dueling, with the family, because they married into the whatever opposite family or whatever. Like very, very cool, very strange. And I'm like, that should have been made into a film. That'd have been hilarious.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
And
he loves Baltimore,
he does all his movies are Baltimore.
Always. Yeah, he's such a fanatic of the.
He hasn't done anything for quite a while.
No, he has. I think he's probably in his mid 70s.
Yeah.
He's not a young guy anymore, and it takes a lot out of you.
Oh, I bet you should know, because as I find out, good segue, as we find out from doing a little research on you, that what don't you do? Holy Christ, you got you've not only just acting and stuff, but in a lot of stories, as I went. Well, can I just stop? Because you are the first American to ever be awarded a Golden Movie Award.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was in 2000. Yeah, 2017.
Okay.
And so they had called up and sent an email that said you're nominated.
Nice.
But you're the first. Oh, I wasn't the first to be nominated, because Vivica Fox, the actress, and
the company.
Oh yeah, Vivica Fox and this other African-American actress was also nominated. So I was the third American to be nominated, but I was the first to ever win it as an American.
Gotcha.
And to be honest with you, I was watching it because it was live, and I think BBC Nigeria had it, and so you could pick it up online, and it was kind of coming in and kind of coming out, like it wasn't the best, strongest, whatever stream of it. And when they said my name, I was like, what the hell, did they just say me? and then my director shows up, and AY Makun, not director but the writer for the film, shows up, and the star, he's like, "I want to thank, this is for Dan Davis." I'm Davies. He mispronounced my last name, but it was nice, because he accepted it, and I'm thinking, well, shit, that's a really cool award. That's probably worth a few bucks. Not that I would sell it or anything like that, but I am gonna sell it. Just kidding. No. So I was like, well shit.
Pawn shop in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, they should really send that to me. So then I got hold of the Golden Movie people in Lagos, Nigeria, and Accra, Ghana, and they said, "No, Mr. Davies, we're putting this in a museum."
Wow.
I'm like, what? And so they're crafting, or in the process of crafting, a Nollywood style museum, for film in, I think in either Lagos, Nigeria, or Accra, Ghana. And they said, no, it's gonna be in a museum. I'm like, well, shit, that's pretty cool,
because you were the first to win it?
Well,
or
I think it was maybe, yeah.
okay,
Because now Nollywood is on the world map. Not because of me. It's more so because of Danny Glover and Eric Roberts and those guys. But I'm still the #1 American actor in their history, which is pretty cool. So maybe that had something to do for box office. So that's really, really cool. So I was like, well, shit, museum.
yeah,
that's cool as hell. So I never got it. And then, and I'm still kind of waiting on this museum to be built. Hopefully it wasn't just some nasty lie.
But when it's built, you'll be there forever.
I'm straight. And I'm going to go visit it and I'll be all like drunk. Oh, I got to tell you guys something. The beer in Nigeria, there is a beautiful brewery.
So you've been there before?
Yeah. Oh, lots. For films and things in Ghana and in Nigeria. But they have, it's called Star beer.
Okay.
And I think Heineken bought it, but they still brew it at the Star Brewing Company in Lagos, Nigeria. And it's a Pilsner, a lager. That's like a pale ale. It is so freaking refreshing.
Oh, wow.
It is so good. And they serve them in these bottles that are just like massive. It's just like, twice. They're probably 26 ounce bottles. And they're just really good. And I was a little bit afraid, because we're snobs. We're beer snobs in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And now, with this beautiful Stone Arch beer, it's like, but I tasted it and I went, this is freaking awesome. I was like, keep them coming.
26 ounces at a time. Let's go.
Able to ship it here or no?
I should find out because Heineken bought it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no, Guinness.
Hopefully they don't ruin it.
Yeah.
Guinness won't.
Guinness or Heineken bought it. Maybe it was Guinness actually that bought it. So they're not going to mess it up.
Right.
No, they'll let the brewmasters there keep their recipe and do what they're doing because they shouldn't change anything about it. It's really, really good. But I'm glad we're talking about these beers and Stone Arch, Scottish.
And there you go. Grab another one.
Oh, I'll have one. Thank you.
Pop.
Yeah. So there you go. And the film that you won it for?
That was called A Trip to Jamaica. And that was on Netflix from 2020 to 2022, January of this past January.
So I rented that.
It's horrible. God damn it. It's so bad. You can be honest, Fitz. It's a horrible, shitty film. I'd much rather have.
Did I tell you?
I'd much rather have painful dentistry than watch it.
What happened with that movie?
It's just so bad.
Can I clarify real quick? It's not you in the movie.
Well, thank you.
It's everything around you.
It's crappy.
Because at one point I'm like, okay, you're the villain in the movie.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And then Eric Roberts shows up.
Yeah.
And now he's the villain.
Yeah, he's my boss. And then Sir Paul Campbell, the Jamaican actor, who's knighted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's another bad guy.
Yeah.
But then AY, they're speaking also pidgin, which is
I couldn't understand.
When I was acting against him, he would say this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond.
Is this my cue?
Am I supposed to laugh? Am I happy? Am I sad? Are you just telling me to fuck off and jump off a bridge? Or they're saying your penis is really small?
Where a bunch of them were talking, and he was in the middle of some. It must be the knighted guy, I think.
Yeah.
And at first the scene started, and I went, "Oh, it's like a joke."
Yeah.
And it kept going and kept going. I'm like, "No, this is real."
Yeah.
And at some point I said, "Oh, I'll finish this in a little bit," and I haven't finished it yet.
It's horrible. It premiered at the largest.
But you won for it.
Yeah,
because you were good in it.
Thank you.
I mean, you were bad at it.
Yeah, it was.
And you were mean.
Yeah,
mean to your wife.
Yeah, it was a wife-beaten mob guy.
Yeah,
and just real. My director Robert Peters, really a good guy. 6'3", 300 pounds of solid muscle. And, excuse me. In America, when you portray a bad guy, it's all about the nuance. So if I'm looking at you and I'm like, Fitz, I'll give you two choices. Okay, the first choice, you can either be my friend, and your second choice is I will kill you. That's how you would deliver it. In Hollywood, there are no nuances. I'm going to kill you, you motherfucking piece of shit, motherfucking. And it's just like, so you have to play like it's theatrical, like it's really big.
Yeah. I can see that now.
Scream at me. He'd be like, Dan, what are you doing? And I'd have to like get to be that was real. That anger that you see in my eyes is because of my director. I was pissed off at him. He kept screaming at me.
You gotta find a way to get angry.
Use it, right?
I use that energy for that. But it was weird when it premiered at the largest IMAX in the continent of Africa in Lagos.
Wow.
90 feet across, 50 feet tall, 60 feet tall. And there's 1,000 people there. And most of them are paparazzi. And my co-star sitting next to me, and she's from London via Nigeria. And Ense, Ekpe Item is her name. And Ense is like, she knows I'm like hating the film. God damn it. And she's like, Dan, if you run out screaming, all 1,000 paparazzi are going to take a photo of you screaming and running out of your film. You stay the fuck next to me.
Okay.
And I literally watched it like deer in the headlight. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. This is terrible.
But they loved it over there.
And Netflix picked it up, and it became a top 10 international comedy.
Oh my God.
Repeatedly, like monthly. They had their own metric, their own algorithm. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people?
But he was a big star, the guy that
AY.
AY
is massive.
Yeah.
AY is he's the Jackie Chan of Africa.
Okay.
He's massively huge. It's weird too. My joke is when I go to Africa and some parts of Europe, people recognize me. In Wisconsin, 9 bartenders and my garbage man know me, and that's about it. You know, Dan, what are you drinking? Come on in. Hey, guys, you know, and my garbage man likes me because I'm very fastidious about recycling. He's always, hey, Dan, I want to talk to you. First of all, we want to thank you for always doing everything correct with your garbage and your recycling. And if I had a badge or an award, a trophy that I could give you for being the best recycling and garbage person in the city of Appleton, I'd give it to you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They put that on the museum too.
Word you can put on your resume.
The best damn recycling bitch in Appleton. Shit. But yeah, in Africa, in Nigeria and Ghana especially, I can't walk the streets.
That's awesome.
I tried to jog one time when I was there, and the guy's like, we're suggesting you not do that. And I'm like, what? Come on, guys, I got to get an exercise. He's like, no. He said, remember when you guys went to that soccer match, the football match? 150, maybe 200 people bum rushed the Mercedes-Benz van that we're in, and they were pushing it. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, it was like the Beatles, you know, I was like, what the hell? And the driver rolls the window down. He's got a freaking handgun, and he just shows it. And then somebody says, Mr. Driver has a handgun. And I'm like doing a horrible impersonation of them. And then they all like scatter, and then he's able to go. And I'm like, this is absolutely fucked up. Wow. Yeah, it was nuts.
How did you get hooked up with film over there?
It's so West of Thunder was at the Toronto Film Festival and had done a pretty good film festival tour, winning things and all kinds of things. Yeah. And the director is Kevin Nwanko, and he's from Nigeria but lives in Atlanta. Had read some articles about the film and reached out and said, hey, Dan, we're doing this film. Probably can't pay you as much as some of these other films, but we heard about Toronto and all the film festivals, and congratulations. Would you don't even have to audition. You just, you know, could you do this? And that was originally Tempting Fate. So I'm getting them mixed up. So there was an African film prior to a trip to Jamaica. Sure. Tempting Fate actually isn't a halfway decent. It's a halfway good film. It's halfway decent. Not
Sure,
great.
Sure. Okay,
But Kevin, that's the reason. But he, when he said it, he goes, "Can you do a Russian? I want you to be a Russian mobster in this film." I said, "Hell's yeah, I can." And then I'm
now as an actor, you're like, I've never done it before,
No.
but I always say yes. Always say yes, right?
Yeah, always say yes. You can learn it. So I was with my buddies, and I tried my Russian accent. But do you guys remember Yakov Smirnoff?
Yes.
The Russian
Comedian, yeah.
in America. People drive cars as big as tanks. In Russia, tanks drive over people. Just like, So every time I do the Russian accent, I sounded like a drunk Yakov Smirnoff. And I'm like, "God damn it." So then I called the director, Kevin. I go, "Kevin, I had an epiphany." He's like, "Oh, tell me." I said, "It shouldn't be Russian, but he should be from Kazakhstan, which used to be part of the USSR, used to be part of the Soviet Union. And their people are, badass and this." And he goes, "Oh," and I told him the history. He goes, "We'll do the accent." And I did the accent, and their accent is like, it's always difficult when people come to me and they talk and they want me to be a part of the film. So I did this thing, and he's like, "Shit, that's it."
Oh, okay.
So I did it as a person from Kazakhstan instead of Russia because I couldn't do my run in America. That guy. He's still alive, I think.
I think he is too, but who knows? He was big for a while.
But to make a long story short,
that's hilarious.
He had seen one of the films at one of the film festivals, and I was up for an award, and he was like, "Yeah, we could pay you this for the film, and we'll have an opening in Lagos, Nigeria, and we'll fly everybody there," which was
great
cool.
experiences, though.
It was awesome. It was. I've been there about half a dozen times. And then COVID kind of put, an end to that type of travel, especially to some of the African, and Asian countries, Sure. But it was fun. It was a great time.
You do it again
oh, hells yeah.
Yeah.
But with flights, when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s, flying is fun. You're just like, "Guess what I'm gonna do first? I'm going on an aeroplane." Because they got snacks and cookies and crackers, and coffee, and you can order drinks if you want. You're all like excited, and then you hit a certain age, it's like, "Fuck, this sucks." Especially if you're over 6 feet, you're like, Yeah, I had to be moved off of a plane about. Not off of the plane, but in a different area. Because they flew me in coach, and there was a 300-pound dude and a 350-pound dude, and I'm like 240. And the stewardess comes by and says, "Oh, hey, gentlemen, how are you?" I'm like, "We're fine." And we're like this, kind of scrunched up. One guy, they both have their hands on my knees. And I'm like, "God damn it." And she's like, "Okay, the captain is going to have a little problem here." And I'm like, "What?" "Well, you guys outweighed on this side of the plane more than everybody on this side."
Oh my goodness.
Would one of you guys, I went, I'll move.
Yeah, right.
And so I moved, and the two guys were like high-fiving, and they're like, "Thanks, man, thanks." And then I sat, but because I was the one who volunteered to move, then I got all kinds of freebie stuff, like the stewardesses come and like, "Danny, would you like a little wine? Would you like a little beer? We got Heinekens." I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, bring it. Bring it.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming."
And it pays to volunteer, right? Suffer.
Yeah.
You suffered. You volunteered to suffer.
I did. But to make a long story short, if the flights, because it's 18 hours. You're in a plane for 18 hours.
Holy fuck.
It's crazy. It's
I get it now.
Nuts.
Okay.
What I tried to do on some of the flights, I'll get up in front to stretch my legs, because you don't want to start cramping up or get a blood clot or whatever. I was there for one of the flights, got up in front and started doing my exercises. And this gentleman was there, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just stretching out my legs. Can I join you? Is this like aerobics?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can join me." So then he got up there, and then these two ladies got up there. So we had 4 people, and I was doing squats, and I was doing calf raises. And they were like following suit, and then everybody was like
aerobics on the plane.
Yeah, and I said, for you older people there, just keep moving your legs as much as you want. You don't have to be up here doing what I'm doing, but keep your legs moving.
Yeah.
And so everybody was doing this. And it was like,
boom.
Yeah,
something else to your resume.
Yeah, I put the air in aerobics.
You want to lead the aerobics on the flight to Belize?
I'll do that.
Is that where you guys are gonna go?
We're going in January.
Nice. Oh, cool. Why Belize?
Wow, I believe.
Tina Bachrath.
Oh, okay.
Tina Bachrath.
I don't know why. I just got
Play-by-play mate who has not been on. We want you on, Tina.
We want you.
We
want you.
She was in Belize, and we sent her a tank top, and they're like, if you'll promote us, you don't have to come on. We'll send you the tank top. So she's like, I will. I'll wear it when I'm in Belize. And then we got talking about all taking a vacation somewhere, and it started with Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica and love Costa Rica. And then I'm like, well, Tina's mentioned Belize. Let's look into that. And it was really cheap. So,
oh, cool.
I was like, all right, let's go there. So,
cool.
So the day I booked it, I thought it was an island. I had no idea it was in Central America.
Central America.
Yeah, I thought it was in the Caribbean.
Aren't they a good coffee producing country?
Probably.
I think they are. You guys should really.
But I would love that. I would love it if it was. I was looking up the other day and I saw a coffee shop where we are, but only one.
Well, I saw a brewery that has a barge.
What?
Yes.
Wow. You had me at hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could use a room if you want to come down.
How long are you guys going for?
So we're literally, so there's
6 nights.
3 couples and me.
Oh, okay.
I'm the 7th wheel.
You're on the 7th wheel. Yeah.
But for 6 days, for a week, you're going to be down there?
Yeah. Monday through Sunday.
Be kind of cool to document it and film it, right?
We'll definitely do some stuff on the phones. We're not going to bring down all the equipment, but we'll do some stuff on the phones and
we'll record stuff. Yeah,
cool.
Live stuff.
That's awesome.
And promote.
Oh, the weather will be perfect.
We do that
too.
A lot of times when we travel, we'll go somewhere.
We do so bad when we travel.
We are bad, but
we get fucked up when we forget.
I know. It's vacation time.
Yeah, we forget.
It's cocktail. Yeah, when I lived in Las Vegas, you had asked, and it was funny because I was a regular, and I'd always play blackjack was my game in this 3-card poker. And your chances are halfway decent when you do those 2 games. But I would the waitresses would give me a beer and I'd say, oh, I'm from Wisconsin. Could you give me 2? And she's like, oh, sure. And my Spanish was actually halfway decent. So and they have a lot of Latina and Latino waiters and waitresses. And so I would speak, and then they go, "Tu eres cubano?" They thought I was Cuban, and I'm like, "No, I just look like that Dos Equis guy or whatever." And then
you play up once in a while.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but the one time when I was playing, the dealer was like, "Sir, you can't do that." But I was tipping them like $5 every single time they'd bring 2 beers. I'm like, no, I'm from Wisconsin. And he's just kind of staring at me. His pit boss, this huge guy, is behind him. And he goes, what'd you say? I go, I'm from Wisconsin. And he looks at the dealer and says, this fucker's fine.
No way.
Yeah. He's like, the reputation. He's just like, he's great. He's good. Don't worry about it.
He can handle 2 at a time.
Yeah. And it was funny too that I met a bartender there who's from the Bronx. And he was like, I remember when all you fuckers came when the badges in a fucking bowl in Las Vegas Bowl, and none of you fuckers had ever been in a bowl game. And since Rose Bowl of 1960, well, you fuckers came. He's like using fuck every other. Then he goes, you drank the city out of brandy and you drank the city out of beer. Who the fuck does that? We had to go to Reno.
Oh my God.
To get more beer and brandy.
There was also a big controversy for that because the power went out at the stadium that night and fucked all the bets up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but that's we do get our name in the paper. Don't we?
I'm so proud of us. Yeah, the 51 of the top 70 drunkest areas in the U.S. It's actually 51 of the top 60 either counties or areas are right in Wisconsin. Yeah. There's a couple in Iowa, a couple in South Dakota, Indiana.
We kind of rule the roost.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Appleton's the drunkest city in the United States by Time Magazine and USA Today. The drunkest city in the United States.
It's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.
And we're part of it.
I know. I'm proud of that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm proud.
I am too. Sorry. I heard
Stone Arch is part of it too.
And you contribute, Stone Arch.
So as long as we're talking about Appleton.
Yes.
First person 10 people, 10 stories, 10 Appleton locations. Tell me about that. I want to.
So I work with
so interesting.
I work with this amazing director, Len Ebb. His full name is Len Brusso, but he goes by the name Len Ebb. He's originally from New York, got his master's at UCLA in film directing. He's got over 60 Hollywood credits. And he fell in love with a Wisconsinite, a person from the Fox Cities, Appleton. So they get married, they have a whole bunch of kids. He moves back, and now he's the head of video at Miller Electric, but he still does these fun little films. And they're just like every year he's got a new project, and it's an honor. He asks me to be in them, and it's usually stories about my life that he kind of makes and puts on the big screen. First Person was the only one that wasn't. I was one of 10 stories.
Okay.
And I told a story about my grandfather.
Oh, nice.
When he went to school at University of Wisconsin, Madison, and he under scholarship as a Native American, half Scots Irish. And he tells a story that he was living in New London. They're from New London.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
And so he was dating my grandma at the time, and his family was poor, so he'd have to hitch a ride from Madison to New London. But nobody would pick up the guy with the dark hair, dark eyes, dark skin.
Sure.
Nobody. But his best friend from New London was a year older, was on the football team, and he was a letter winner. And my grandpa was like 150 pounds. His best friend was 250 pounds. And he says, if you wear a Wisconsin Badger letter jacket, people love the Badgers, and they will pick you up. So my grandpa goes, well, you're about 100 pounds heavier. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
My grandpa tries the jacket on. He's like swimming in it, but he's like, oh, what the hell? So he walks out of his dorm, and he said it was almost like in slow motion, puts his thumb up.
I believe
this family stops, husband and wife, gets in the back seat, and my grandpa's saying the driver is looking in the rear view mirror at my grandfather. He's probably, and they didn't have any people of color on the team. They didn't have any Indians, Mexicans, or blacks.
Oh, okay.
In the 30s. This is 1933.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're staring at my grandfather for a couple of reasons. Well, I think this boy's got some Indian in him, and wait, he's so little. What position does he play? So he says, can I ask you a question? My grandpa goes, sure. He goes, what position are you on the football team? And my grandfather would say, I'm the kicker.
Perfect.
And then he would joke later on. He'd say, I'm the kicking tee, because he was so small. But he said, and then the story in this First Person is that he would tell us later, he said, I wish people would have not seen me for the color of my hair, the color of my eyes, the color of my skin, or even the color of that huge red Wisconsin Badger letter in that letter jacket. He said, I wish people would have seen me for the color of my soul.
Yeah.
And that always struck a chord with me. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But he said the racism was always, it was latent. It wasn't overt. People didn't even understand. There were people that in the 30s believed that all Indians were dead and gone.
Oh, sure.
That they were genocide,
Okay.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
people come up to him and go, do you live in a teepee? No, I live in a brick home in New London, Wisconsin. Just shit like that.
Yeah,
But it was always subtle, and it was always not overt, but just enough to get under your skin.
Yeah.
So, and then
stupidity, but
yeah.
did they? What they knew. That's what they.
That's what
I
they
guess
knew.
they kind of knew.
Yeah.
From
Yep.
it's to actually say to someone,
Yeah.
"Oh, really? You live in a teepee at this day and age?"
Yeah. But 1933.
Yeah,
So
it's 1933. I get that at that time, but still at that time, that's all they. I guess they saw from movies and.
Yep.
There wasn't a thing. Huh?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so it was, but I think because of that, I think he dropped out after about a year and a half.
Oh, okay. And
he was super bright. He was brilliant.
Well, the statement that you just said was really the color of the soul. I've never heard that put that way. Color of the soul.
Color of the soul.
I've always heard similar things. Yeah, but never put
color
that way.
of the soul. And so that's First Person. So Len crafted this as Appleton is like the 11th star of that. So it's in 10 different locations all around Appleton, more of the iconic locations of Appleton. And, excuse me. And it's personal stories from 10 different people.
That's what's cool.
Yeah. So there's some people that had some tragedies. Some people that just had some interesting childhood stories. One gentleman suffers from Tourette syndrome. And
So when he asked you, did he say how did he present to you what story he wanted to hear from you?
He had already,
or did he say anything you want?
Yeah, but he had already heard some of these before, these stories about my grandfather and just some of my stuff. And he said, what about that? You talked about your grandfather at Madison, at Wisconsin. And I went, yeah, that's a cool story.
So he knew about it going again.
Yeah, he already knew. And I think he kind of already knew a lot of, because he's friends with just about everybody on that first person.
Okay.
So he kind of knew their story, or at least a bit of it.
So where can we find that? And
that's a good question.
But I know I'd love to watch it.
It's a short film.
Yes. And I just know from a lot of people we've had on.
Yeah.
Short films are hard to find. I wish it was just maybe I'll start that. A website that like all is short films.
Shorts.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't know, and I'd love to promote it.
Actually, okay, hold on just a second. It's actually, I was trying to find it. And I don't think it's on his website.
Oh,
but can we cut right now? I'll get a hold of him real quick.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Is that is
sure.
that okay?
And we'll
I'll
come
use
back.
the bathroom again too.
Yeah, we'll come back and tell you where to find it.
Yeah. I'll try that. Excuse me.
I'm so perfect. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so it's if you look under Len, Bruce. So
first person. There you go. Sure.
Yeah, so it on his IMDb, he might have those.
Links to watch it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look.
He might have some links to watch it.
First person is the name of the short.
That's fairly new, isn't it?
Yeah,
it just
But I think it might even give you a link to his website as well, because I think it would just under Len Ebb or Len Bruce. But his parents were from Cuba, and they escaped Cuba on a raft and got to Florida. Got to Miami, and then moved from Miami to New Jersey or New York, and that's where he went to school. But yeah, his story is really kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's a super nice guy too.
And he's around here, and it's cool that he's doing what he loves still around the area. And that's what I love about you, is that you're doing your shit that you love around this area.
Yeah. And I'm a homer. I love all Wisconsin sports. I hate our winters, but other than that, I love everything about Wisconsin. I love everything about Appleton. Yeah, it's a good sized city. It has a good entertainment district. It has great music. It has great restaurants and fun bars and great places to go to.
Theater. It's even got theater. Even
performing arts.
Many plays at at the
PAC.
The PA. No, we're in Menasha.
Menasha. UW Oshkosh.
They have
Fox Cities.
4 plays a year, or something like that.
And they're all super, super great.
I've enjoyed
Susan Rabideau and all those people at the UW Oshkosh Fox Cities. It's a great community to live, and if you have kids, it's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Low crime. Just people are nice. People are cool, and people leave you alone. I like just being, when I'm at home, I'm very reclusive, and I just don't, it's nice. It's just, I don't, entertain. I just, when I'm home, and
so you're at home and you're going to write. Where do you start? What gets in your brain that says, I'm going to write something about that? Because you had mentioned before how you visualize it all.
Yeah. So it starts with one kernel of an idea. So for an example,
because you've got a lot of story credits in IMDb.
Thank you.
Which is great.
And like, for an example, Mr. Thursday or Dominion, which I'm in that film. It's kind of in turnaround. I guess we filmed it, but there's all kinds of legal problems, and DB Sweeney was an asshole, and so
toe pick.
Fuck you, DB Sweeney.
And it was just a lot of shit that went actually. Yeah. A lot of shit that just went awry. And but that originally my story though was, I kept thinking which I'm still going to make a version of this, either write a book about it or a screenplay, probably all of the above, and make it into a film. But it's Dominion, basically, and it's about this gentleman. And West of Thunder actually has elements of it as well. Mm-hmm. There's a small town homicide detective, city of like Stevens Point, 30,000 people. They don't get a lot of murders. Well, this detective, this homicide detective, becomes famous. He writes a book on why people are evil. And he basically breaks it down into 3 components. Number 1, it's familial. It's mom and dad beat them. We're cruel to them. We're mean to them. It's also societal. So the second one is their friends. If the friends hang out with bad bunch of kids, that's going to influence them to be bad. Or the third thing is a chemical imbalance. There's a reason why people are evil is because their brains are not wired correctly. There's a chemical imbalance of some sort. So I came up with this. That was the original idea. And then I expanded on it. So when I'm writing, I want one real solid idea, and then the rest of it just comes to me. And it's very, very weird how it comes to me. It just like literally when I write, the characters are telling me what they're going to say, not the other way around.
Really?
Yeah. I don't craft the dialogue that's crafted in any one of my films. It's not from me. It's from that construct that I created. That character's telling me, cool. What they're saying. It's really weird. Like I'll be at the end of the day, I'll have 4 or 5 pages written, and I'll be like, holy shit. Wow, this is good. I don't even realize that that they're saying this. They tell me what they're saying. It's really kind of strange. But again, just kind of get back to Dominion. So this gentleman comes in, very nice dressed gentleman comes in, and he comes into a convenience store. They have all the security cameras, sets an unloaded weapon with bullets, and he asks the convenience store people behind the counter. He looks at them and he's really nice. He says, "How are you doing today?" And they're like, "Great. Could you do me a favor?" They're like, "Sure. Could you kill yourself for me, please?" They pick the gun up, put the bullets in, and whack. And it's all caught on surveillance cam. He walks out, he mouths something into the camera, and then walks away. And this homicide detective is absolutely freaked because he's now done this like 4 or 5 times. And it's all caught on surveillance cams. And so all he wants to do, this gentleman wants to meet with this homicide detective one-on-one. He said, "I want to meet you alone, one-on-one. Don't have me arrested, or I'll make people pay. But I just want to meet and talk to you. That's it. That's all I want to do." So the first time they go, he gives him the address. He shows up, and this guy comes to the door and says, "You son of a bitch, you lied to me." And he closes his eyes and he goes, "Officer Fernandez is right over there. Officer Sinclair is over here. Officer Lee Tompkins is over here." Boom. And he knows where they're all kind of hiding on him because they're going to come in and arrest him. But they really don't know what they're going to arrest him for. Sure. Because it's an assisted suicide, basically. So to make a long story short, get him in the car. And so he's in the back of the other car. And then this killer is in the front car. And all of a sudden you see the car flip. And all of a sudden he's gone. He's disappeared. And the 2 police officers have killed themselves in the front seat. And now he knows something is really fucked up. So he gets to a point where he says, "Now, do you believe me? All I want to do is meet with you alone and just talk to you. I just want an hour of your time." So he sets up this meeting. He shows up and he's like, "You know something, officer, I enjoyed your book. I really enjoyed your book. It's actually really well written, but it's so filled with so many fucking lies." He said, "You think people are evil because mom and dad beat them, or their friends are bad, or a chemical imbalance? I'm that imbalance. I'm the reason why people are evil, and you never give me the credit. And I'm sick and fucking tired of it. When those people kill themselves, you know why they kill themselves? It's because of me." And you find out he's a devil. Yeah. And it's really powerful. And it is just like really fun and powerful. And it's really, and it's called Dominion. And so, but that, to make a long story short, it starts with that one idea. Yeah. And then I just expand on it. But even when I have that idea, it's already, the rumblings of the rest of the story is already in
At
my
what
head.
point do you say, I'm going to make this a book and this or a screenplay?
When I started writing the books, that was difficult to do, really difficult. Screenplays aren't that difficult to me anyway. So what I'd like to do probably with Dominion is write it as a book and then do a screenplay adaptation from the book, as a screenplay. Because I think it would be really powerful, and it talks a lot about just like personal choice. It's just like it's like people, the devil looks at him and goes, people choose me.
That's right.
He says, but you don't give me, I'm not a choice in your book, and I'm not a choice anymore. And they willfully choose me. So it's really kind of powerful and philosophical and theologically pretty sound too, because he finds out that he wants this homicide detective to kill himself in front of him. And he says, he said, I'm going to ask you to do this, and you'll be doing it as a favor to me, but you will do it. But the moment that, because in his book, he doesn't believe in the devil, doesn't believe in God.
Okay.
So the moment that bullet goes into your brain, you're going to know that I exist, that I'm the reason why. It's really intense and crazy. So that's
another that I could see continue on between the author and that guy back and forth for quite a while.
And so I mean, to make a real long story short, that's kind of how I come up with it, and I was able to with my brothers and sisters. My brothers, I come from a really poor family, and at one time we shared, my brothers and I, one bed. three boys, one bed. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in the tub. And then we had one bedroom and then 3 guys. But when my brothers and cousins would be over, they'd say, Danny, tell us a story. So every night I would tell them a story, and I was able to I'd say, pick something out from the room, and somebody pick up a rock or something that, was on the bedstand or whatever. And they go, tell a story about this rock. And I'd be able to tell a story right away of that rock, and how many people had it, and the significance of the rock, and the magic powers of and I'd just be able to do this stuff. And I always ended up with like aliens and shit like that.
So do you find that you have all these nuggets that come to you, you finish them all, or do you have a whole bunch that are like started but not finished and you hope to finish them someday, or do you get the nugget and I finish it? Pretty
much when I get it, I'll figure out a way to get it done.
Okay.
And so there isn't a lot of, like, I know a lot of authors, a lot of creators, there's a lot of unfinished, songs, manuscripts, scripts, books, and whatever. I just get it done. I just say, fuck it. And then I'm blessed enough, fortunate enough this is my real job. I don't have to have a real job. I haven't had one, and I can't even remember
all the stuff you have going on. So, so when I see in that you had the story, and then somebody else like comes in with a screenplay, is that okay with you, or do you have an input on the screenplay, or do you, when they finish the screenplay, you're like, the fuck you did to my story? Or do you,
to be honest with you, sometimes it's an improvement. So my story is written, so the story, I try to do a treatment of it, and a treatment's an overview of the screenplay itself, but it's written in a narrative fashion. It's written in a short story fashion. Paragraphs, the whole works. It's not written templated like a screenplay, and it's usually anywhere from
screenplays like with the verbiage back and forth of Kevin says this, Dan says
there's an actual templated way that you create it. But if it's a treatment, it's anywhere from like I said, 5 to 20 pages long.
Okay.
And it's probably 10 to 20 pages long, and it's an overview of the story.
Sure.
So if I give that to somebody and then they craft a screenplay after it, I've had that happen twice now, and both times I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, you were in.
I was like, what the hell are you thinking of? And they added some really cool nuance to it, and they added some really cool, flavor to it. So I was happy with it.
Okay, cool. So I've got about 3 stories I'm going to submit to you. I'm just kidding.
You have stories?
I got all kinds of stories. I just can't finish shit.
It's all those things.
But that's what's exciting to me is, just that whole thing that you have so many stories out there. As I'm looking for your stuff, you've got stories. You got stories and screenplays, and you're in acting. You're not acting in it, but you just So that's really cool to me.
Yeah, it's been fun. I always love the creative process, and I've loved the creative arts. Anything, from music. I'm a huge music fan, and anything that has a creative bent to it, I'm part of.
So who do you feel when you were younger, or what's the greatest influence for you as a filmmaker and a film writer and actor? Yes, both. Let's touch on both. As an actor, what was a great influence on you, and as a writer, movie maker?
As an actor, I've been a huge fan of Denzel Washington from his first things. He's amazing. He's one of my heroes. There was an actor though, who did a movie called The Walls of Jericho, or I think it's Walls of Jericho, and it was a made-for-TV movie from like 1979, 1980.
Sure.
And I was a kid and I was watching it, and his acting was, and I can't remember, not Richard Chamberlain, but I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. But his acting was just unbelievable in it. And that really got me thinking, well, holy shit, it'd be kind of cool to be able to be that type of an actor if I'm going to get into it. And then in Wapaka High School, our music and theater department was really big.
Yeah.
And they kind of pushed me into it, and I enjoyed it. I was never afraid to be in front of 1,000 people. I never had that stage fright at all. I always enjoyed it. And that's kind of where it kind of started, that film and Denzel Washington and, and some of the old school filmmakers, Mel Brooks, is absolutely a comedic genius and
still alive, loved 100 or something.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, he's like World War II veteran, and
he's still literally writing right now, working on a series.
Yeah,
with
it's crazy.
Nick Kroll. And they're writing and doing a TV series right now, both of them.
That's great. Wow. And his son too, I think, is a film director.
He wrote World War Z.
His son did.
Max
Brooks. Yeah,
I don't know what else he wrote, but he wrote.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's cool. But he's one of my favorites of all time. I just love my dad loved all those films, and then I got to love all those films. But it was fun. It was just and I'm enjoying myself. That's the bottom line.
It seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do anything unless I take enjoyment from it. Okay. Life is too short to do things that are just like the sturm and drang of society. You want to do something that is noble and transcendent and hopefully memorable, and have fun with it, because shit, I mean, if you're not having fun doing the things that you love, then you've lost, that's just life is pretty dreary without that.
That's why I look forward to this so much more than my real job.
Yeah. And it'd be great for you guys to expand this so that it becomes your real job. And there are the podcasters and that are doing it and making with enough sponsors and enough eyeballs on their stuff that they're able to do this.
Yeah, it's a possibility. You just gotta work at it. That's all there is to it. You just gotta work.
And I forgot to answer before. In Trip to Jamaica, did you get to work with Eric Roberts?
Yeah, so
in a scene, because that guy's.
Yeah, he's interesting.
He's so good. He's so good, and he's so crazy. But what's your experience with him?
I told this story about Eric on a nationally syndicated radio program just a couple months ago. God damn it! And I accidentally may or may not have seen Oscar-nominated Eric Roberts' penis.
Oh, all right.
So, and it wasn't sexual, wasn't weird. It was, hey, Dan, I got Heineken and a roasted chicken back at the condo. You want to come? I know you're from Wisconsin, Dan. You like beer? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I got packets of mayonnaise. He had me at Heineken and packets of mayonnaise. Well, the phone goes off, and he's like, I'm gonna take a quick shower. Boom, and goes, and you enjoy your food and you have some beers. I'm drinking and blah blah blah, having a good time. And then the phone rings. I'm like, Eric, your phone is ringing. Maybe it would be Julia Roberts or something. Hello, Eric. This is hi, Julia Roberts. This is Dan Davies. I'll go get your brother Eric. Could you hold on, please? Well, I also love you. Okay. but it's ringing. I'm like, Eric. Oscar-nominated Eric Roberts, your phone is ringing. And he's like, it comes out, and he's wearing a terry cloth robe and nothing else. And you don't want to see a 65-year-old man's wiener. I don't, it's just like it's a gray forest.
It's not on the bucket list.
No, it's not. It was like a gray forest with a little snake coming out of it, like a little worm. It's so horrible. You can't see that. But so shit. I'm on a national.
He's a great actor.
A nationally syndicated radio.
And he told that story.
I said that. I went, and the moment I was saying it, I went, oh, damn it.
Eric's gonna be
with him again.
No, he's the most prolific actor in the history of Hollywood. He's done over 700 films.
It's crazy.
Holy shit.
Just when you think you know every movie, he's been in every other movie.
Yeah. That's why it's not that, because he pimps himself out. Basically, it's $10,000 a day, and he's Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
So if you can rustle up 3 or 4 days,
Runaway Train.
Yeah, which is amazing.
I just watched a little while ago, and he's so good in it. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Star 80. He's so good in it. He should have been nominated for that.
American or the Gypsies.
American Gypsy, I think it was.
He's a great actor.
Good, and then he
just pimped himself out. His wife would say, at one time Eric was making $3 million a film. But that bloom fell off the rose, and now it's $3 million a year doing 100 films a year, But you're still making $3 million a year.
Well, there you go. And she's like, "Go away, honey, go making movies."
And she's his agent.
Oh,
too. So no, he's a good
10%
good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you hear stories that he's out there as well, but I don't know. Was he fine? Do you have scenes together? So I, as I said, I apologize. I started Trip to Jamaica. Yeah. And at one point I paused it, and I have not made back to it because
we're in, I think 2 scenes.
It's hard to get back to it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I will finish it. It's on my thing.
No, it's just horrible. Don't Fitz. Don't. If you want to save yourself, because remember, you can't unsee this. Just think of Eric Roberts' little penis. Yeah. No, his penis is not showing up in a Trip to Jamaica. Oh, damn it. He's going to kill me. Eric Roberts.
You want to come on the podcast and talk about it and defend your story?
He might be a made man connected to the mafia. I mean, who knows? Shit, I get whacked, next week.
Not worth it. Don't whack him. We love him.
Whoops.
I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I enjoy. I think
he's a great actor. He's amazing. But yeah, he does all these films. You need to get him for 3 days minimum. That's what his contract does. And he likes chicken, and there's certain things that he likes to eat. Obviously roasted chicken with packets of mayonnaise, and Heineken's, and 3 inches of man love. No, 2 inches of man love.
It was cold. He just came out of the shower. It was shrinkage, people. Shrinkage.
It's cold. Yeah. So, oh shit. I should stop telling that. It's gonna.
Well, I guess until his agent or he calls you and says,
"Yeah, his wife.
The fuck you doing, buddy?"
Yeah, his wife. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
This is so cool.
Cool.
Look what I got here, right here. He brought to both of us his office.
Yes.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to tell you a quick story.
You just lost your page.
I don't know. It's in there, but that's cool. I got a ticket from the sign, which we got a ticket from the night of the show.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was at the night of the show, and I bought a DVD or a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I had you sign it.
Yeah.
Which I loved, and I tucked the ticket in the back of the sleeve.
Yeah.
Because I opened it, right? So my nephew, who's going to Milwaukee to be a filmmaker.
Yeah, it's good school. Film school.
He loves movies, and we talk movies all the time. I thought he loves quirky movies too. So I gave him that Blu-ray for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he opened the present. He's like, great. And he was like, oh, and I got a ticket. I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to give you that.
Give it back.
And I could get it from him. But you know what? This is better.
Good. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'm going to order the Blu-ray again because I gave it to him for Christmas because I'm like, you know what?
The Blu-ray or a DVD? Remember, the DVD comes out March 14.
Sure. I
mean, if you want a Blu-ray, that's great.
Is there one better? It's
cheaper.
Oh, I don't
get the DVD.
I love my thing was I can't wait to see the commentary.
Yeah.
I'm a commentary nut, and people, my kids and are like, what the fuck are you doing? But I'm a commentary nut, and I didn't get to listen to him before I gave it to him.
Yeah.
But he was excited. He loved it. It was probably the best present in the whole group of my family when they got it.
So
how
cool is that?
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk to him about him.
Jeez, what a nice compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. Because I knew he would appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I gave it away. Sure, I'm going to order another one.
That is so cool. That is, thank you so much. It makes me feel really, really cool that people are appreciating it. And you mentioned the commentary. It was kind of funny because we did it at Mark Goldie, his studio.
Okay.
Mark's from Appleton, and he's somewhat famous, a record producer and a studio guy. And he was very gracious. He said, just come in the studio for a few hours and you guys enjoy yourself, bring some beer. And so we brought like a case of beer. And so when we're doing the commentary, you hear it.
Come on.
Yeah, clicking the beers. And then Will is the beer getter. So Will, because we didn't have hard cider for him, so he's running over. He's drinking a Coke or whatever. So he's getting the beers and stuff. But actually, you'll hear Will in that commentary talks a lot, which is good because I wanted to get not just me droning on about shit about Eric Roberts' penis or anything, but it was cool to get his perspective on stuff. And so there's a lot of neat insight from Will and from hopefully from me and from our director, Steve Russell.
Yeah. I can't wait.
So yeah, it's good. I think it's funny actually too, because you can tell we're getting drunker as the,
I can't wait.
Because we were just I like this. Yeah. Literally tonight. Commentary. Yeah.
I love it.
It was like Pabst we were drinking too. Something like that.
I want to mention that. Yeah, he's going to appreciate it. And I can't wait to talk to him about it. Let me get you another one real quick, and then we'll touch on this.
Awesome.
I'm never kidding. Hardin. All right, so we're back with more. We're not back. We're just always on, but we're back.
I think for the most awkward transition.
It's a transition that's awkward because we keep drinking.
Yes, we do.
But you know what? This is one of the reasons we enjoy these in-house so much, because it's just great there's no script. We just talk and
it's so much easier to talk to somebody in person than
I know. And this has been fun. I've really enjoyed myself.
This is great.
Really, really cool.
And I believe we could probably talk for another 6 hours.
I know. We're going on 2 hours already.
Right. So we're gonna hit some high points because you got some shit coming out that are important, and we want to get that out there. And this is one of them, which is really cool. And I appreciate you bringing us the book, because I was looking at it and I could see the audio, but I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I'm going to read this.
Thank you.
And I will. Yeah. And take a look.
It's
Forest Dark, which is a great name. And wow, what a great story.
Yeah, it's
lead
crazy.
Into that, man.
So Sam Johnson, that's not his real name, is writing under a pseudonym. Worked for the FBI from about 1972 to 1997. He got his fame originally in the late 60s. He worked as a crime scene photographer, and what he did was he ordered all of they were called lookbooks, but they were basically all the perps. They would have these magazines with all of the wanted people, or where they would show them, does he look like this? So what he did was he made a rudimentary computer algorithm or metric in the old IBM computers had its own room with the cathode, the tubes and everything like that.
Wow, yeah.
And he created a facial recognition in the late 60s. And they were just starting to use security cameras. So he originally did that, and he put a mathematical equation to the face. He went by Michelangelo or Da Vinci's rule of three, and then he split the face up into these quadrants, and each quadrant had its own mathematical number, so that it would come up with a number, and then he could actually match it with somebody that he took all the photos of these photos in this computer. And so he was the first person to do that, never got paid for it. The FBI,
of course not,
found out about him, and he thought he was in trouble. What the FBI wanted him to do was, though, they said, you're working with these security cameras, can you make the facial recognition is amazing, but they still didn't know how to apply it. But he said, can you make things get bigger, more clarity? Like if we see a license, can you get to a point where you can see the zoom in? He said, well, we can't, but I can try to figure that. So originally that's what he was hired for, to add clarity to these security camera videos. But then as he was doing this, they had a murder case where they saw something inexplicable, paranormal and supernatural. And they said, well, you obviously now know about security cameras, and you know about computers, you know about facial recognition. You're going to be our go-to guy on any time we have a capital crime or somebody sends us a security camera that has an anomaly, an inexplicable anomaly,
Okay.
be it paranormal, supernatural, alien, just crazy shit that they would see. So he had an office at his FBI office, which I think might have been in Chicago, but I'm not 100% sure. And he would go through and they'd send all these security camera videos to him, and he would try to deconstruct what he was seeing. Is this Hollywood trickery? Is this somebody doing special effects? Why is that person floating in the background?
Okay.
Shit like that.
So you dissect the shit.
Yeah. And so that's what he did. And as he was doing this in the book, he had this bear, and I can't remember exactly how he came. Oh, it was a family bear from his grandfather, who's from Russia, and he got it literally from the Tsar's family, like in 1910, 1915. And the bear came over, but something about the videos that he was seeing in this bear, there was a connection between the two. So when you read the book, it's really fascinating and fucked up and crazy. So that's kind of his backstory, and that's what he did. But he's now in his mid to late 70s. I think he lives on the East Coast. I know he has a dog. He's a smoker. He's on oxygen because he'll switch out the oxygen tanks when he's on the phone with me, and I can hear him clinking. You know,
oh, the tanks. Okay,
yeah, and the bottles of oxygen, and he has trouble holding. You know, he'll talk to me like, Danny. So I'm going to tell you a story about. He's always trying to catch his breath.
Take a while.
Yeah, because he's always
trying to gasping. Gotcha.
So he's maybe on his last legs. I think this is his dying confession. He reached out to me because of A Trip to Jamaica.
Okay.
On Netflix. He was a fan of the international cinema. And then I wrote a book called The Rantings of a Madman on Facebook, and Gannett, Wisconsin did a really nice article about it. He finds out I'm an actor and a writer, and that's what he's looking for. So he sends me this email through my IMDb. I think that he's hitting on me, and
no, wait, what?
Yeah, and then I emailed him back.
Why would
he was just very complimentary?
Okay.
But then I misconstrued it, and I said, "Hey, thank you, sir. You know, blah blah blah. It's a nice compliment, but I like women. I'm heterosexual. You know, blah blah blah." And then he wrote back right, "Oh dear Lord, I wasn't hitting on you like Eric Roberts." No, please don't. He's gonna have me killed.
Eric. Let's discuss.
Yeah.
But okay.
So anyway, so he reaches out to me. We start up this. He calls me. It's an unlisted number. We start talking about these things. He said, "Could you ghostwrite my book?" I said,
wow.
"Sir." He's smart. He's got a bunch of degrees. He's got a degree in computer science, mathematics, and he's got a law degree that he got later on in life. I said, "Sir, you'd be able to do this. You know, I don't want to touch this." I said, "This is freaky shit." So he wrote it himself. And he wanted somebody that was a filmmaker and an actor to actually create a 1-hour TV pilot based on the book, because he wants to be able to make it into an episodic series, because he wants this weird supernatural, alien, paranormal, whatever he's experiencing with this teddy bear and what he's seen out to the general public.
Okay.
Because it's not. It's evil and weird and strange, and it needs to be out there. So when he wrote it,
did it freak him out?
Freaked him out. Yeah. Wow. He's in hiding because of it. He's under an assumed name. So he knows that there's powers that'll be. He said he doesn't give a shit if they kill him or get him. He doesn't care. He's like, shit, I'm already old. I don't care. But he has family members.
Yeah.
So I took that wrong, and I thought he was in hiding because he didn't want that he was talking about it, but he's in hiding because he's scared.
He's scared.
Wow. Yeah,
he's terrified.
Wow. Okay.
And here's this grizzly older guy.
Yeah.
I think
Grizzly old guys back then don't get scared of anything.
No. And I think he might have been in Vietnam, early Vietnam, because I know he was in a military. I don't know if it was Army or Air Force or Navy or whatever, but I have this feeling that he might have served during the early part of Vietnam. But he's a grizzled, old guy, and he should be scared of anything, and he's absolutely terrified. And he says at the end of the book, he reaches out to the readers to say, if you have any idea of what these things could be or what this entity is, go to, and it's my email, one of my email addresses. Cause I said, would you be able to, if you get a lot of people, writing you, would you be able to do this? He's like, hell no.
Sure.
Are they going to send a letter?
That's true.
A slow boat to China letter. No, I'm like, no, it'd be email. He's like,
okay, so you're helping them out. I mean,
yeah.
That's
so people can, I had a couple people already reach out where they think it's, they've come up with their own ideas of what this entity is, which is really kind of cool. We filmed the 1 hour TV pilot already. So that's out there. We got a Hollywood agent and agency interested.
Awesome. As a documentary or as a series?
As a series. So the series would either be me in my conversations with Sam and all the things that or an actual recreation of the things that he went through from 72 to 97.
Wow.
And then he's writing a second book he worked for NASA for like 5 or 6 years for the Viking 1 and Viking 2 project with all the photos of Mars. Because there's anomalies in these photos, and he was able to see them. There over 54,000 photos were taken. There's 1,500 of them with anomalies.
Oh, wow.
Meaning structures, crazy shit like that. And he was hired as a subcontractor for NASA he said, we occluded it. So they made it look fuzzy. So if you see any of those photos, because they're all general public domain, if you see a little fuzzy little area, that's him.
That's him doing it.
And it could be an alien, a structure of a spaceship, a boot. There's all kinds of rumors. They found a boot. I've seen that photo, and I don't know if that slipped through his hands, but it's all from Viking 1 and Viking 2 from the 70s and 80s when they sent the first, explorers up to, unmanned, up to Mars. Yeah. So it's crazy. So yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell.
So freaked out do you get hearing these stories?
It's
several stories. Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I've got another TV show coming out, and it's called Weird People in Weird Places.
Where can we get this book?
Yeah, that's on Amazon.
Yep.
And it's a Forrest Dark, and it's a Kindle version and a paperback version, and then the audio book will be coming out this spring, and I'm going to be doing the audio for it.
So, you have a voice for audiobooks for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that would be a good one.
So I'm excited to do that, and that'll be this
Renegade Press. Is that you?
That's me. Yeah, that's my publishing company.
Oh, awesome.
So I published it. I've got a Music on the Bones, which is also available on Amazon, and that's written by Jody Marriott and Avi Bar-Lev, and it's based on true events, but it's not a true story, but it's based on true events that happened in 1969 in Russia, in the Soviet Union, where they used to actually, rock was contraband. You could be thrown in a gulag if you had a Beatles album. Right. So what they would have people tape them to their body, get them into the country, and then these med students would go to the hospitals and buy up all the used film, the X-ray film, and they could, with a stylist, they could actually create records from the X-ray film because it's malleable.
Yeah.
And so they listened to, that's why it's called Music on the Bones. So it's a great book written by Jody Marriott and Avi Bar-Lev, and it's going to be made into a film, and they did the soundtrack already at Abbey Road Studios in London.
I saw that. Yeah, I read that. Yeah, that's awesome.
I play the lead character's dad in it, and Katie Caden plays my wife in it, and Clint Howard and Robbie Benson.
I really do.
Great. Yeah, he's a trip.
The unappreciated Howard.
Right.
Yeah. But I appreciate him.
So
back
that's
to the
kind of in 2023. So it'll be hopefully just a gangbuster year. But it's inexpensive. Less than $10 to get the book, $4.95 to get the Kindle. and it's absolutely terrifying.
Amazon.
Or have them on your podcast. Maybe I'll give you one for free.
So I came in with 2 of these.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it actually, because I was looking at it, I'm like, I'm gonna read that, and I was looking at Amazon to
Oh, cool.
to look at it, but
Well, no, you got your
I
own
don't
copy.
have to worry about it because I got it.
Did Sam sign? We had signed
Did he?
copies of Sam. Yes, Sam signed these too.
Oh, shit.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and it took forever to send it for him because he had a third party that I sent it to, so I wouldn't know his address. And so it took like a month to get these back.
He's not
Sam.
So no,
Sam. Wow, these are real case.
you guys are awesome. I want to be on your show again,
You will be.
and I'm gonna bring more alcohol.
Okay. You will be.
Well, we definitely need more, I think.
We always need more.
No, it's been so great. Oh my god.
Awesome.
But before we go,
Oh yeah. You want
Sure.
to learn, and I don't blame him.
I want to talk about the $50 million bullet.
Okay, cool.
Because it's obviously, if you're from this area, you know the story.
Yep.
Funk, I don't remember his first
Yeah.
name. Gary?
Not Richard Funk. What was? Oh, shoot, I can't remember.
Anyway, he was suing the city for
Yeah,
City
a
of
bunch of money.
Nina.
City of Nina.
$50 million.
And he was kidnapped essentially. And as he escaped, the police ended up shooting him.
Yeah, they shot not the.
There's in the news. You can read it.
Not the hostage taker, but one of the hostages, which is just a crying shame.
And I watched the trailer, and it's all actual footage and pretty disgusting footage.
Yeah,
the police talking about shooting and laughing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like
and
literally right after it happened.
They let him bleed out for 45 minutes before any medical.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, I remember. This is a while ago. I remember hearing the whole story. I just don't remember the details.
2015.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
I know it's weird that it's been that long.
ML Funk. Yeah, he went by the ML Funk.
That's right.
And
so
where'd that project come from? And
so there was a gentleman named David Starr, who's from Los Angeles and Florida, and he came up to have a film festival too called National Independent Film Association Film Festival. One of his films was up for an award, so he flew in and he started talking to Donna Frankart, who was a coroner for Winnebago County. And she talked about this case of ML Funk, and then it intrigued him. So then he went a step further and said, well, let's make a movie out of it, but now he's passed. He's gone. He died. Kind of in a mysterious kind of a way too, which that's another.
The Nina police didn't kill him.
No, this is down in Florida. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it was in Florida.
Died for
but what's odd about it, the IMDb page, there's a poster up for it, and nobody knows where it's come from. So it says $50 million bullet out October some date,
right?
October of 2023.
Yeah.
And David Starr is gone. He's dead. So there's like some mystery behind that too. And I didn't even know Donna Frankart had called me because one of the actors said, who put the poster up for $50 million bullet? And Donna calls me up and goes, who did that? I'm like, wait, there's a poster on the IMDb. And I checked it out and went, oh my gosh, holy crap. So I guess it's been resurrected somehow, but it's okay. They don't even have a script for it, and I told him too, I said, well, dude, I could write it. Yeah. But I mean, if you don't want me to write it, that's fine. Find someone else, but I mean, if you have a writer who's already in the film, why don't they just, hey, Dan, you're halfway decent. Yeah. You're probably asking yourself a couple of questions. First of all, my name is Matt Foley. I am 33 years old. I'm a writer who lives in a bank. It's my Chris Farley.
If you break this table, this is going to be the best.
Fall on the table.
So I don't know why I went into Chris Farley.
It's amazing.
I don't know the beer is talking. But No, but we needed to get another Wisconsinite in there. The fellow Chris Farley. Yeah, 20. Yeah, it was actually just a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the 25th anniversary of his death. Yeah. Is that sad? 97.
Yeah, you're right.
He was one of my heroes.
Coming up.
I absolutely loved him. I know his brothers.
Let's cheers to Chris.
Cheers
This real
Chris.
We gotta.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
His brothers are nice guys too.
Okay.
Kevin and John and what's the other one?
Wow.
I know Kevin and John. They're really nice guys, but yeah, I just had to do my Chris Farley.
That's all right.
So I can't
out all you want.
I can't do an interview without breaking out Chris Farley. But you guys, thank you again. This has been amazing.
Well, I would love having you, man.
Thank you.
And then sharing your stories, and we've got so many more questions that we want to have you back again.
Thank you. I would love to.
We have you back for another reason.
Are you going
to announce or not?
Ed Gein the Musical 2. We're going to get into the sequel to it, and that's Ed's Big Adventure, and it's based on a true story. One of my best friends was a year older than me at Wapaka High School, and he was at Madison, and he came back for a weekend. I was still in high school, but we were drinking, and he's like, Danny, he goes, guess what? He said, my roommate met Ed Gein. I'm like, whoa, did he go up to Mendota? He said, no. He said, that son of a bitch was wandering the streets of Madison. And my roommate is in this bar, and he looks out the window, and he sees a guy in blue, like uniform. Yeah. He's like, oh, this guy doesn't belong here. And it's an older guy. Comes up to him and says, sir, are you lost? He's like, yeah, I'm lost. My name is Ed, and I live over here. He points kind of towards Mendota. He must have gotten on a bus or gotten to the downtown or one of the bars. And so he's like, holy shit. And he said, what's your name again? He goes, I'm Ed Gein. And he's like, oh my God. He runs to a payphone because they didn't have, and calls up and goes, oh my God, Ed Gein has escaped. You got to get him back home. And so that was the end of that. So then I take that real story and I'm expanding it. And it's Ed's Big Adventure. And he has one day where he's normal. He just wants one day where he's not murderous and a cannibal and a necrophiliac and all these things. He just wants one freaking day. And he actually has a heroic day. He goes into a bar, starts rapping. He does all kinds of stuff, and it's into like 1984.
Is it written already?
It's
brewing.
Yeah,
it's brewing.
And Will Kaiser will probably be helping with that as well.
Excellent.
Big time. Yeah,
excellent.
I might have him direct it. He's very talented. So Ed Gein the Musical, and then I have I Dream of a Psychopomp. Is a horror film that's doing really, really well. It's amazing. It's a Kenosha Racine filmmaker.
Okay.
Danny Villanueva Jr., brilliant, and Anthony Ramos. That's a fucking. I love that film. Yeah, I'm only in it. I have a small supporting role, and that's on Tubi. I think
I got Tubi. Good.
Yeah, Freevee, Roku, all kinds of stuff. And then I have a one coming out in 2023 where I play a deranged preacher called Without a Name. And that was shot. They're Los Angeles filmmakers, Emmett Loverday and Hayato Mitsuishi. And Hayato is also originally from Japan and a filmmaker there. And Eric Otto Lukert, so it's who's from Wisconsin. And that's coming out in 2023, Without a Name. And I want to do a film called Deermageddon the Musical that I want to shoot, in Wisconsin. It's about zombie deer. And
yes,
and it's a musical, and it's uplifting. And I reached out to like Kev Mo and Mark Metcalf and just said, would you guys be involved? Steve March Torme. And
so can I just say right here, right now, on film, if you make another movie in Wisconsin and you need an extra free of charge, I'm in. You give me a call.
I'd love for both of you guys.
I would be in any movie that you'd ever want to be in.
And have an extra. Have your kids there too.
And my kids. Oh yeah, great. Absolutely.
We always pay our extras in amazing food.
I love amazing food.
I love amazing food.
and if they're over 21 and if they want a libation, as long as they're not drinking and driving, because that's
against the law, even in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Yeah. So you guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So when we're at the musical, your friend who said he was doing a documentary of the night, interviewed me and my
Andy.
daughter and her boyfriend. So you've got film of us talking about why we got there.
Good.
I don't know where it's going to go with it, but
so Andy Bong, that's his name. That's his real name.
Okay, Andy, yes.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
And he's special needs.
He's very nice.
Super great guy.
So excited.
He's a filmmaker.
Okay.
And he's just one of the neatest guys. But he does these documentaries. He's going to do one on me. And and we filmed a couple of different interviews, and he basically just reads my Wikipedia page and then asks questions, like, from the.
Well, he gave my daughter shit, and I thought it was hilarious. So
he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor, and I'm very proud of him. He's overcome a lot in his life. He wasn't supposed to survive. The umbilical cord got wrapped around his throat and lost oxygen. He was supposed to be profoundly deaf, blind, and all kinds of stuff. And
he's far from that.
No, he is. It's pretty amazing. But
awesome.
he was a neat kid. He was we had fun with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy, Andy.
So I wanted to mention that. So where can anybody find you and to learn more about you?
So the Wikipedia page is always a good jumping off point. My IMDb page at Dan Davies, VI6, Roman numeral, is a great way to kind of keep up on all the upcoming films. Renegade Press, I'll be able to have my website right now is aforestdark.us, or is it .org? .org, I think. And so for Forest Dark, but that's Renegade Press, so you'll be able to see my books and some of the books I'm publishing. And that's about it. And and again, Eric Roberts.
I think that's the perfect way to end.
That's the way to end. Thank you so much, sir. We cannot thank you enough for joining.
You guys are awesome.
Appreciate it.
Enjoyed myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now we're gonna drink some more, maybe eat some.
Let's go enjoy. Let's go to a bar.
Yeah, Green's Poorhouse.
Let's go, and we'll shout out to Green if we keep this going.
We'll cut it all.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.